Congratulations, Michael.
Sorry.
A great result. A 78-lap race that was won in the first 50 metres. Talk us through your start.
Yeah, I mean, I was myself a bit surprised. I got very good off the line, but then I saw Mika having wheel spin initially and struggling a bit. And naturally, he tried to move over to make it difficult to me, but he wasn't. He was clever enough not to make it too close. Otherwise, we would have crashed in the first corner, and I slipped by because I had the momentum, the better speed, and for that reason, I could use my strategy, which obviously was on lighter fuel, and pulled my advantage or my gap, which we needed for the pit stop to make everything safe. But mainly up to the first pit stop, it was a hard race, and I was pushing obviously flat out to get my gap, and after that I just drove it home.
We saw on TV your engineers coming in and going out with tyres. How flexible was that strategy? How big was the window in the first stint?
Good question. I mean, obviously we have two cars. They can be moving for two cars in and out and playing different strategies. I don't know. Obviously, which moment they have done what, I can't see that. You see more than about this. But there wasn't so much of flexibility in the strategy, to be honest. Not on my side.
Now, the last race was very controversial because of the problem with back markers and blue flags. How was that here this weekend?
No, compliment to the drivers, to be honest. I mean, they did a very good job. Certainly to me, I don't know how it was to the other guys, but they moved over whenever it was possible for them, and really fair play.
Thank you, Michael. Eddie, second place, congratulations. You've cemented your second place in the championship. But for your strategy again, how flexible was that? Were you always on a two-stop?
We were obviously, before the race, we have to look at various situations and see what's the best thing to do. And that's where, we've got our race card, and that's Rush. He does a fantastic job in that department. But as in Imola, it worked out well for us today. Mika seemed to hit a bit of traffic earlier on, which I seemed to be able to nip through quite nicely, and I closed the gap, and once I got close to him, I could see I was a lot faster than him, and basically all through the race I was faster than him, but obviously when you're behind, you can't overtake, especially when McLaren goes down the straights. So we had to do it in strategy, which we achieved.
Thanks, Eddie. Mika, I suppose you could say you lost the race in the first 50 metres. How did you see it?
How did I see it? I think that Michael said it exactly correctly. I got too much wheel spin in the start and was not able to get out the grid well enough to accelerate first in the first corner. So unfortunate because of that, and that's it about the start.
You probably still would have finished second, but for the problem you had going into Mirabeau at the end of your first stint. What happened there?
Yeah, there was yellow. I think the incident just happened when I went there, and there was some oil on the circuit, and yellow flags, and went to the Mirabeau, and because there was oil, I just lost the back end, and if I would have tried to turn the Mirabeau corner itself, I would have definitely lost the back end and hit the barrier. So I decided to go straight and to get out there as soon as quick as possible and back to the track. But obviously I lost too much time there. Nothing what I could do in that situation.
Does this performance by Ferrari begin to dent your confidence about being able to retain the championship?
I think this start of the season, the points what I scored this Grand Prix is obviously important. Every point is important, like we realized last year. Just have a very intensive testing coming up again. Plan to improve the car engine and to find more speed to be able to maintain the speed.
Thank you, Mika. Michael, we go from the high downforce street circuit of Monaco, where obviously your car was the best to have, to the circuit of Barcelona, where you all test. Do you think you can carry on the advantage?
It might be the case that we're not as competitive or quick as we have been here in Barcelona, because if you see the nature of the cars, then you might say this kind of circuit favors our car a bit more compared to Barcelona. It may favor McLaren more. But on the other side, we have as well an intensive test program up to Barcelona, and we expect some development to happen there. And then we'll see, because naturally we want to have a car which beats the others on all circuits, and we're on a good way, good direction. And if I remember back to Melbourne, there were a lot of people not expecting what we are doing right now. May they don't expect other things as well. Us, yes.
So, Michael, after this great win, will it be a wild party tonight?
We'll see. I'd like to, yeah. For sure we have a party, and we'll see whether we can keep the guys here for a little party. Obviously, things move on Wednesday. We're back in Barcelona, so cars have to get fixed for Barcelona. So there can't be a very long party time for the mechanics, which is a shame. I mean, worked so hard again, Imola and here, and not really having time to celebrate. But may we save it up then for the end of the season to have a big celebration.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Ferrari's triumphant Ross Brawn is waiting to talk live now to James.
Well, Jim, I'm in a very privileged place here. I'm in Ross Brawn's office for the 2 hours every Sunday afternoon, and this is where he does his best thinking. Martin Brundle described that performance as a whitewash, Ross. What do you describe it as?
Well, the 1-2 is very good. I mean, we can't do better, and I think we did it in style today. So, fantastic result for the team.
Were you surprised at the speed of the McLarens? I mean, they just didn't come after you.
I was a little concerned as to what they were doing because there's been all sorts of rumours about large fuel tanks, all sorts of things that they may have here. It just shows it pays to keep to your own ideas and work as you best can. So, but I was a little surprised. However, qualifying, we didn't do a good job, and I think both guys could have been on the front row in qualifying. So, yeah, it was not a complete surprise.
They say this place is the ultimate driver's circuit. A word for Michael Schumacher and his performance today.
Well, exemplary, and we mustn't forget Eddie. He did a fantastic race as well. You could see a small mistake cost you the race here. So, and Michael had a period of about 20 laps at the beginning where he really pushed hard, and Eddie had the same with the strategy we applied for Eddie. We were fortunate that Hakkinen made that mistake, but it brought the strategy alive, and he had to push very hard at 2 or 3 times during the race, and he responded fantastically.
You've obviously got a very, very quick racing car now. You've taken the fight to McLaren. Is it too early to start talking in terms of a championship?
Yes. I mean, we're concentrating on the next few races. We have some plans for Barcelona. We have some plans for Canada. So, we need to see how it evolves. But it does give everyone, this sort of situation does give everyone an extra push. Everyone's got a bit of extra energy and a bit more enthusiasm for all the things we ask them to do.
You've got plenty of champagne on your spectacles, I can see. It's about time you got some down your throat as well. Thanks very much, Ross. Well done.
Yeah, nice one, James. The calm assurance there, Ross Brawn, of a man who has done his job exceptionally well. I just want to ask, he's still got that drive?
Well, I was worried because in 1979 here, James Hunt decided, he'd retired very early from this race, and he said, that's it, I've had enough. Because this is the pinnacle, because Monaco is the ultimate. I hope Damon isn't thinking like that. I don't think so, because he actually told me the other night he was running through the edge of Hyde Park somewhere, doing his usual fitness training. This bloke started really shouting at him from the scaffolding and giving him absolute grief, saying, "Oh, you're no good anymore, bleep, 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 bleep." Damon thought, I can't believe I'm hearing this, And this bloke then jumped down off the scaffolding and chased him to shout after him, say, "You're no good, bleep, bleep, bleep." Well, Damon normally would go away, but he stopped, turned on him and gave him an absolute mouthful, which basically said, I'm not ready to retire, I'm as good as all of them. I think that's the answer.
Okay, interesting story, but a running rage then from Damon. Let's only get sharpened up for when we go to Spain in a couple of weeks' time. Johnny Herbert we always seem to talk about G Monaco Grand Prix. He's with Louise.
Ron, a bitter pill to swallow today.
This is motor racing. You've got to be you've got to behave in the right manner. We had difficult problems with both cars. David with a gearbox leak and Mika with a front suspension problem from about lap 5 or 6 on. Obviously we don't know what the problem is, but today wasn't our true performance. I have to take small comfort from that, and it's a long way to go.
The Ferrari seemed to have the race already won by the time Mika had his problems. Where did it go wrong today?
I don't know. I think we've been struggling all weekend really, and we were, I think did a good job to get it back in practice. But this, you know, when it's so competitive, you fall behind a little bit at the beginning of the weekend. It's very hard to recover. Maybe we didn't have a perfect race car, but I think really the start was, they made better starts, and after that we had a problem. So, you know, but I think...
Well, Dennis asking a lot of questions. He will demand quite a few answers over the word with Heinz Harold Frentzen, a character transformed really by Jordan. And he's talking to Louise.
Harold, not quite a podium, but a very strong race nonetheless.
Yeah, I'm happy with the result today. We were racing against Rubens Barrichello, clearly, and we had a fantastic strategy in the race. We had a very good pit stop. The team did a good job. I think the car has also showed again that we are very reliable and we are very strong at the moment. Very happy, very pleased for the team and for myself.
Tell us about that strategy. It worked very well for you today.
Well, the strategy today was just keeping up with Rubens in case he wins the start, and I was behind him. I had no problems to follow him, still carrying a lot more fuel than him. So after he pitted in, I had to clear air in front of me. I could attack in this moment and drive very fast, and so I managed to be ahead of them.
Heinz Harold Frentzen. Let's move on and talk of Fisichella, supported here by thousands and thousands of Italian fans.
Well, Giancarlo, it's not often you get a Christmas present in May, but when Rubens Barrichello spun in front of you, you must have felt like it was Christmas.
Yeah, very lucky. Again, the 1 point more. I am so happy because my target was to score some points, and 2 points are very good. The race was very difficult because the grip of the car was very low, and the car was very upset, very nervous. But it's good. In the race, I was quick like Barrichello and Frentzen. That's not too bad. We are working a lot, but we are in the right way.
Well done.
Bye.
Yes, well done, Fisichella, fifth, and Alexander Wurz finishing right behind him for Benetton. Here's the Austrian now talking to Louise.
Well done, Alex. A lucky point for you.
Yeah, in the end was a point. I'm happy. I had some difficulties at the start. I lost a lot of places, and then I lost so many time behind Zanardi. He was really slow. But then he made a mistake. I forced him into a mistake, and then I just finished the race and finished sixth. It's okay.
A good result for the team as well. This moves you up in the championship.
Yeah, I mean, we're catching a small amount of points, but we're catching them, so we are coming, no problem.
Benetton on the charge, that's the warning. Tough return to Formula One for him, but finishing today in 8th place.
Alex, no points, but a finish nonetheless. Is there some consolation in that?
Yeah, I feel a bit like Mr. Bean, really. Every race I have something that happens to me. This time, believe it or not, the seat broke, and when I went straight over there, it's because I couldn't reach the brake pedal. And it's just incredible, but I'm sure a better time will come, and I did some fast laps, and at the end we had to slow down because we had a problem with the oil system, but the car is not that bad. We certainly need to improve it if we want to aspire to something better.
How did you see brake, and what kind of problems did that cause you in the race?
Well, you mean the seat broke? Well, the problem it caused is that when I was braking, my nice part was going all over the place. I mean, the car is designed to host not huge people, but obviously different kind of drivers, and the seat is supposed to be made to hold the weight of your body in the same position. When you're braking, my body was going all over the place because the seat was breaking up, so it was difficult to be consistent, to brake right on the mark, to be on the limit, to brake on the mark and turn the car where you wanted. If my body was going somewhere, and be precise with the steering wheel, it was difficult, but made the end. That's good.
Keep the faith, it'll come good for you soon.
Thanks, Luis.
Mr. Bean, that one could just stick. Martin, you've clambered up here on your way up from the commentary box. A few thoughts flying through your head. I would think, what's your overall impression of what has happened here, the significance of this race?
I think it's really how easily Ferrari won. That's going to surprise a lot of people. And just Michael coasting around, really. I mean, he won by 30 seconds, could easily have won by a minute or more. They're moving on now to Barcelona. I think that could be more of a McLaren type circuit. I don't think I've had a chance to say that while I've been making my way from a long way over there. But I think you could see, you know, it's two completely different types of racetrack, but a lot of head scratching for McLaren. I think they probably had the wrong strategy today, and then a bit of bad luck as well made it look even easier than it was for Ferrari, but they won on sheer pace.
We've got a little caption here that just shows how successful Michael Schumacher is. He is now the top man in Ferrari history, 16 wins, just nipping ahead of Niki Lauda, and really confirmation there, Tony, of what a star this fellow is.
Yeah, and Niki Lauda is here to see that as well, and Niki was a Ferrari great. You know, Jody was a great, who was here before, Marty before that, but it is fabulous. The thing is that Ferrari, for the first time, are leading from the front in the early part of the season. Since '96, they've been coming from behind. They've always been playing catch-up. I think what we said earlier on, Martin, was that, you know, once you get to the faster tracks and the aerodynamic superiority and the power of the Mercedes engine can be used, McLaren will be back with a vengeance, but that's good for us because the battle will resume.
Yeah, but the Ferrari's just got a lot of raw speed, hasn't it? I mean, and that, you know, and that's all about the aerodynamics and the dynamics of the car, and you don't lose that really. The car's just plain working well. Worked well in Imola, worked well in Monaco, again, two completely different circuits. And you can see they've got it right, and the way that the aerodynamics are working with the suspension, the drivers have got tremendous confidence. I think I said at some point in the race when Irvine was catching Hakkinen, you could just see Irvine was just relishing the chance because he just could carry so much more speed into the corners, and you could see him just really enjoying himself, and Hakkinen looking a little bit under pressure. But the thing that surprised me was where Hakkinen got that 1:22.2 from. Right, lap 68, I think it was.
Wasn't it?
That was strange. If he did have a front suspension problem, as the team have said, it didn't affect him on that lap.
And it was the sheer speed, I noticed it in your commentary. You pointed that, Martin, the sheer speed of Ferrari above McLaren, that really struck home for you as well.
I think Ross Brawn made a very good point. I think maybe we were surprised in the race because I think Ferrari underperformed in qualifying. They didn't deliver their full potential, I think. I think Michael perhaps thought he got that one in the bag and hadn't, and Hakkinen pulls out a special lap, which you can do around here, and Coulthard bumping Irvine as well out of the third spot. So I think we probably had a false impression before the race started, but we certainly didn't, did we, after about half a lap?
Everybody back home is, of course, particularly interested in the progress of the British drivers this season. Let's have a quick upsum from you on the British drivers, and let's start with Damon, because we've already given our views up here. What are yours on Damon?
Difficult times. It wasn't as if he was running well today and then crashed. I mean, he nearly won the race here in '96 with a dominant performance. His dad, you know, this is a bit of a bogey circuit for Damon because his dad was so dominant here as well.
Best of Monaco and all that.
But he looked ragged and he looked under pressure, and I'm sure he is. Whatever he says, Frentzen driving so serenely and so quickly. Damon, it's difficult times for him. He'll have to dig very deep this time round.
Eddie Irvine, is he going to be moving to the #1 driver next season?
Well, he's saying, why leave Ferrari when I've got a car like this? And, you know, when I saw them going around in tandem today, I thought exactly that. I thought, not a lot of point in jumping out of that one, Edmund, because that looks pretty handy and it's getting stronger and stronger. And you've got to beat Michael Schumacher, whatever you're driving. So you might as well be driving the same car at least, you know. Until the warm-up this morning, Eddie Irvine hadn't made a single mistake all weekend. In fact, I'd say his is one of the best performances through Thursday and Saturday. And just had a little half spin this morning, still didn't tag the wall, and a pretty faultless race.
Michael, a mega drive today, and what's better is that you are now the most successful Ferrari driver in the history. That must mean something to you.
It is special, but it will be even more special when one day I will jump out of Formula One and retire racing. Then it will mean a lot more. But right now I consider the fact winning the race here, Eddie being second, that happened the first time for Ferrari in Monaco, a lot more as well for the championship consideration. That makes me a lot more pleased.
Michael, Martin Brundle described it as a Ferrari whitewash. How would you describe it today?
Simply as a team show again. I mean, after writing us off after the first two races, coming back so strongly, it's a bit unexpected. I have to say myself, I wasn't expecting things like this after Brazil qualifying, but you never should give up. What it shows, and we never did. The team did a fantastic job, prepared two fantastic cars for that race, and now we got the prize money for it.
Eddie, your race went well right from the start.
Yeah, great start, considering we haven't been able to practice them here really. So pleased with it. I'll just have to see who did the better one, me or Michael, when we check them with the data. And then really struggled with a heavy fuel load at the start. Front tyres were just vibrating when I went round the corners. You might have enjoyed that, but it was no good to me. And that was it. You know, I was quicker than Hakkinen, but it's obviously you're behind him, so that's the problem. Overtaking, so we had to change our strategy, and it worked out great. I was able to leapfrog ahead of him.
Tell us about that strategy. When did you decide to change it?
I didn't decide anything. Ross and Luca, my engineer, would have decided, and they did.
The start cost you dear.
Exactly, indeed. I mean, I lost a lot because of the start, but then again, I mean, the Ferrari was performing better than us here, and it was impossible to maintain the speed what they had, unfortunately. So just have to be pleased now for the third place and concentrate for the next race.
And Michael Schumacher extending his lead in the Drivers' Championship. Tony Jardine, thank you very much indeed. And here's your complete picture of the Monaco Grand Prix. Michael Schumacher, Ferrari's most successful driver ever. Eddie Irvine on the podium again. World champion Hakkinen, third. Frentzen's fine season continues. Fisichella and Wurz in the Benettons. Trulli, seventh. That's encouragement for Prost. Zanardi, a finisher for Williams. Barrichello's rear suspension went as we thought. Ralf Schumacher crashed, so did Alesi and Deniz. Panis and Coulthard had gearbox failure. Salo, he hit the Armco. Takagi's engine blew. Villeneuve had an oil leak. Herbert's suspension let him down. De La Rosa and Badoa both had faulty gearboxes, and Genet and Damon Hill both crashed out. And in a fortnight's time, it's the Spanish Grand Prix around Barcelona's Catalunya circuit, Saturday qualifying, and the race itself is live only here on ITV. Well, Michael Schumacher is trying to become the first Ferrari world champion for 20 years. He didn't need a lucky spin of the wheel in Monte Carlo. Schumacher left nothing to chance. Good night.
If you'd like to know more about Formula One, the website address sponsored by Level 3 Communications is www.itv-f1.com.